Good evening, and welcome to all new and returning viewers to episode 16 of the Herwoodian Crafter podcast. I'm Jutta. I'm coming to you from Tampere, Finland, and this is my podcast about knitting and crocheting and sewing and all kinds of crafting. It's been probably a little bit over 3 weeks since I've last uploaded anything, and it's been probably more like a month and a half since I've uploaded a proper episode. And actually I'm quite happy with getting back to my regular podcast shenanigans. In case you weren't aware, I tried my hand at doing participating in Vlogmas. But at the moment, after that, I feel like maybe vlogging isn't for me. I might change my mind at some point, but that's just how I feel right now. And of course, no one makes me. I'm not really even sure how many of you watch those videos or were interested in any kind of way, and that's completely fine. But yeah, let's just actually dive right into the proper content. I've actually had quite a slow crafting time knitting-wise since Vlogmas. I did manage to get a pair of gloves done for one of my friends. I showed 2 skeins of Lanidium Ex Machina yarns that I bought for Christmas gift knitting. I only managed to get the other skein used. Well, there is still quite a bit left of it. I haven't weighed how much I still have that, but I managed to get the gloves done for one of my friends, and the pair of socks that I was knitting for another friend is still a work in progress. This is the yarn. It's quite dark with pops of purple and pinkish and lighter shades. That's actually quite good. And so this is Lanidium Ex Machina. It's kind of a basic sock yarn. I think this was something like 75 or 80% wool. I'm not sure, maybe superwash wool. And then the rest of it is nylon or polyamide. The colorway name is Punk Princess, if I'm not completely mistaken. And this is how much I have knit of the socks. So I'm doing them two at a time, 2 socks. And this is a kind of a vanilla latte sock. I'm saying kind of because I'm not sure how well you can see. There's just a little bit of ribbing. You can see it better from here. And I'm saying kind of a vanilla latte because when I started these, I wasn't actually looking at the pattern. I just saw a picture. Well, I've looked at pictures of the vanilla latte socks, and I just had an idea about how they were kind of done. So it might be that it's a little bit different with the real vanilla latte socks. These are just something like that. I really need to get back on knitting these, but at the moment I'm kind of juggling in between which gift would be given at what point. I'm not saying this will take a long amount of time, but I've been on a real sweater knitting kick at the last few weeks, so these have kind of been set aside. I don't want to say forgotten or pushed back, but set aside for now. And yeah, so I've been knitting on the Bubbly sweater like crazy, and I'm really kind of close with getting it done. So it's grown quite a bit since I've last shown this to you. So I have one sleeve done, I have the main body kind of done, I'll explain in a minute, and then I've started on the other sleeve. Now what I say kind of done with the body is that my sister moved to Tampere a little over a week ago, and she's visited me this week just passed, and I tried this on her, and the body is a little bit too short. If she were a stationary person, meaning that she never lifted her arms up or anything, the body would be fine. But since, of course, she's not a mannequin, when she lifts her arms up, it just rises a little bit too high, the bottom edge of the hem. So I'll be ripping back once more, and I'll be knitting the body about 4 centimeters longer. Another thing I did that isn't quite as the pattern suggests is that I think I showed this to you last time, where I had just started on the brioche section that is supposed to be on the hem. I think I got somewhere like halfway done with the brioche, and I felt like I was never gonna get it done. Brioche isn't that difficult, but since you're kind of knitting every other stitch on per row, it just takes that much longer. It's lovely and squishy, and I will be using a brioche stitch some other time, but I'm getting to the stage with this that I just kind of want to get this done and give it to my sister. And so what I did instead is 1x1 twisted rib, which I think looks good. It's quite, of course it's not as squishy as brioche stitch is, but the look of it is quite similar. So yeah, I will be doing that again with the reknit longer hem. But yeah, I still have quite a good amount of, I think I have 2 or 3 whole balls of this yarn, so I will have plenty of it. And she is really, really kind of liking how this looks. She really liked how it fit her, otherwise, except for the hem. And of course, since I want this to be a finished sweater that she loves and will wear and will be just as perfect as she wants it to be, because it's really not that big of a deal to rib back and knit it a little bit longer. It's really no bother. So why not? I've used so much time on this that I really want it to be something that she will wear to death. So yeah. In case you haven't seen this before, the pattern is by Isabel Kramer, and I'm using, what is it? Gestal Maya yarn, Norwegian yarn, very basic commercial yarn, and I'm using 3.5mm needles whole throughout the pattern, even though that's not how the pattern says to do it, but I can be bothered with switching. To me the difference is so small that it's not worth the effort. So there you go. The gloves that I finished, I don't have anymore, as you might have guessed. I'm gonna try and insert a picture here. I've never done that, so I'm not sure how that will work. But I used, it was on Ravelry, a free pattern called Knotty gloves, meaning a kind of a knot that you tie, not naughty, like a little bit mischievous or bad. It had quite a long cuff on them, and then there was some cabling on the wrist, and otherwise I think very basic gloves. And they were otherwise they were lovely to knit, but since those were the first gloves I've ever done, the fingers felt kind of fiddly, but other than that, it was a great thing to kind of knit, and I probably will be knitting a pair of gloves for myself. Maybe not the knotty gloves, but a pair of gloves for myself will probably be somewhere in the maybe near future, maybe for next winter, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, those are the knitting projects that I have for you this week. I don't have any crocheting for you, but I think I'll talk a little bit about my sewing projects. If you watch the Vlogmas videos, you will have seen this kimono jacket. If in case you haven't watched those Vlogmas videos, then just a quick capsule, a kind of quick, what's it called? I want to say capsule review, but that's really not what it is. Well, I'll just talk shortly about this. So the pattern is from Sew Over It. I've mentioned it in my other podcast episodes that I really kind of like their patterns. I like the styling of it, of the pictures that they have on their website. I like that I think most of them, if not all of their patterns, are available on PDF as a PDF files, so you can print them out yourself. I don't know why, but I feel that's easier than actually ordering a set of printed pattern whatevers. I'm actually wrong that it's easier, but it just feels easier for me. So I like that there's PDF patterns available. So yeah, this is from, the pattern is from Sew Over It. The fabric is from Eurokangas. It's a little bit kind of out of my comfort zone with patterns, even though this is from the kind of low-key end of patterns that I found from Eurokangas. But I really like this. I've worn it a few times since I got it finished, and I'll just stand up briefly to show you how it works. So here it is. It's a shorter version. The only thing that I feel like I might try and change the next time I do this jacket, because I think I will do more of these, is that I don't like how the front piece of this kind of, it's not, let's see, it's not even, because I have a little bit of a bigger bust area. It kind of makes it go slightly in a kind of upward curve, which I don't like that much, so I might try and do lengthen the pattern a little bit from this end, so it would lie just a little bit more even at the bottom. But it's a small thing. It it doesn't interfere with wearing the piece, and I might do it a little bit longer. This just might be a little bit more to my taste with that. And I also feel like I might kind of this has a standard 1.5 centimeter seam allowance, so I might try to play around with that maybe do just 1 centimeter or maybe even 0.5 centimeter with the seam allowance, because I really kind of thought it would be a little bit more flowy, and I think this was already a size large, so I'm not sure. Maybe I should just get over myself and make an extra large version of this, or I don't know. We'll have to see. I also did French seaming all throughout the fabric, so it doesn't fray inside. I don't have to do the zigzag overlock, whatever they suggested in that, because since there was 1.5 centimeters, I did well, first I sewed the from maybe 0.5 centimeter, and then the way the French seaming works, that 1.5 centimeters was enough to do French seams. And then my newest, I think that's a word, my newest completed sewing project is the shirt that I have underneath here. So I'll just very salaciously remove my jacket. Very, very kind of seductive, isn't it? And yeah, very basic. I think I mentioned in some episode that I had a shirt that was kind of getting excuse me, that was kind of getting close to the end of its run. It had holes in the side seams underneath the armholes, and I've worn that shirt I think a couple of times in my podcast episodes. It was a white and black striped shirt. So I finally took the plunge, and I ripped the seams from that shirt, and then just kind of this shirt and this fabric was something that I had left over from another project that I will show to you in just a minute. And I had enough fabric left over from that project that I could do this shirt, and I'm really, really pleased with how it turned out. So so basically I just laid the fabric out and pinned the pieces of the old shirt on it, and just cut those pieces out. And for this shirt I didn't really kind of I wasn't very careful with it, because I just wanted to see how it would turn out. But now that I really see how well it turned out, I will be trying to kind of draw a real pattern do a kind of paper version of the pattern that I can use at a later date. But once again, let me just stand a little bit back so I can show you how well it turned out. Just as what you can see from here, I really like the sleeve length. That was one thing. I really like the neckline, and just on. Otherwise, it's just your basic shirt. And I also like that it's quite a long shirt. So basically, I can lift my arms up in very good peace. And then for the next project that I finished just before Christmas, I will have to pause, and I will put it on, because as it is, it doesn't look like much. So just a little break. All right, so right now it seems that maybe not much has happened, because this part is the same fabric that I had on just a minute ago. But ta-da! Now there are issues. I really like the overall pattern, but first of all, I think this is a little bit too big. So when I do this, it's really kind of, I like a more fitted, a more kind of fitted. It's a little bit slouchy on the back, and I would like it to be a little tighter, a little bit more fitted. So the next time I do this, I will be doing one size smaller. And then I'm really not kind of sure about the two fabric version, even though basically before I bought the fabric for this, I was kind of thinking that I might do a one color version, even though I saw quite nice two color versions of this. But when I got to the store, I think I talked about this on one of my Vlogmas episodes, but when I got to the store, I really felt like the fabrics that I was drawn to were kind of boring, and the more patterned fabrics were maybe the sort that I might not wear. So I thought that this was a good kind of compromise, and it's nice. I probably will wear this a lot around home, around the house. And the main thing that I tell everybody when I show this dress is that it has massive pockets. Seriously, it's the end of it is over here, and it's a massive pocket. How great is that? But yeah, for me, with this kind of a dress patterning with the different fabric in the front and the back, to me it feels kind of like wearing an apron. I wore this we had a kind of our own after Christmas party with my two best friends when I was in Oulu around New Year, and they didn't say anything about an apron. They said that on a quick glance, it looked like I was wearing a cardigan over the dress, which sounds better. In truth, this is a much kind of lighter fabric than this is, but that sounds better. But I don't know. I'll have to see what I do with the next version, because I do think that I will be doing more of these. I'm also not sure about the length. It's impossible to show you without standing on a stool, and I'm not going to be doing that this late in the evening. But it's right around my knees, the hem of the dress. So I'm not sure about that. I will have to see how it changes with the smaller size. It might be just a little bit shorter, which might not be a terrible thing. But yeah, I have two projects lined up. Yeah, so this is the heather dress from Once Again, so Over It. And the two projects that I have lined up next are also So Over It patterns, which you will probably hear quite a lot in my sewing segments, because, like I said, I really like their patterns. But I have just I think it was just a few days ago that I went to Eurokangas once again and bought this pattern. It's a lovely kind of greyish mauve-ish, taupe-ish bottom color and just some flower prints on it. And this is going to be an Anderson Anderson blouse. And then the other project that I want to do is a pencil skirt, which I have fabric for as well, but it's just your basic black fabric, so I felt like there's no point in me showing it to you. And I'm really kind of hoping that I might get the pencil skirt and the Anderson blouse done by the end of January, because my brother is having his graduation celebration on the 27th, I think. So it would be nice to have a whole outfit done by then. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do if I don't get them done. Probably I'm gonna start with the pencil skirt, and then it might be easier to maybe use that grey jersey shirt and the kimono jacket or something like that with it. But I would really want to do that, both the Anderson skirt and Anderson blouse and the pencil skirt for that, which would mean that I have worn me-made things to both of my siblings' graduation celebration, because my sister graduated, or she had her graduation party on New Year's Eve, and I wore my kimono jacket for that. So yes, that's my sewing content for this time. And I have a few acquisitions that I've made in actually quite recent, just this week past. There are things that I actually saw in the store, I think a week ago or something like that, and just things that I didn't initially think that maybe I would want or need in my well, their books are in my library. So I left them in the store, but when I got home, these two books just kept haunting me, so I had to go and get them. So the first one is this is loosely translated. It's silver chains, and I'm not sure what gad it is, but they're just kind of chains for necklaces and bracelets. That's the word, bracelets, and all kinds of jewelry. It's a Finnish book, so I feel like it might not be translated to any other language, but I really like it. It starts with how you make the links yourself if you want to. Of course, you can buy them if you want to if you want to do that yourself. There are this tell you how to do those, and then it has really many different kinds of chains. It starts out really simple, then it gets a little bit more difficult. And the few things that I want to show to you from this book is first this really kind of beautiful has one type of chain and then some added pearly beads in it. That's really pretty. Then there is this kind of the Japanese bullseye chain, which is really pretty as well. And then there were two kind of bracelets two kind of chains that I felt were really kind of looked very versatile and really kind of this one is more of my style. It's quite simple, but you can make quite a statement piece jewelries with it. And then the other one is the type that I really kind of see my sister liking this. There are others that I can see my sister liking, but for some reason I feel like this might really be up her alley. So it's called a crocodile, and then there is I think the maybe the English term used is hoodoo, and I really like the look of this one. Yeah, those are the ones that I wanted to show you from this book. Very nice. I will be having fun with this. And then the other one is kind of a surprising one, because traditionally the craft talked in this book is something that I feel is very kind of middle-aged to older ladies being interested in this. But the take they have on this book is really kind of more versatile than the usual versions that I've seen from this type of craft. So it's this book. The new dimension of the coffee foil bag. I'm saying coffee foil bag and not coffee bag because I feel like maybe I think there are some people outside Finland who are watching this. In Finland, our coffee comes in kind of foil-lined bags, and they're not the kind of jute fabric bags that maybe come to mind more readily. I'm not sure how they come in other countries. I'm not familiar. But yeah, you can use you can use candy wrappers or crisps bags to do these projects that they have in here. And the few pictures that I want to show you from this book is first off, this is closer to the more traditional way of using this type of crafting, but I really like the way this looks. I like that it's green. Usually when I've seen these types of bags, they have the coffee logos on it, and you can really kind of tell that you've used coffee bags on it, which is not a bad thing, but that's kind of what to me makes it look like maybe the thing that older ladies have been excited about. But yeah, this is kind of a more modern version of it. And actually I was really surprised about, I think I tagged it down, the other version that looked really kind of not coffee tin foil bag version, even though it's more shiny. But I like this looks very, very modern. It's not something I would wear or use, but it looks very modern. It doesn't look like the type of thing that I mean, given the right circumstances, I really might use something like this. And then also I really like, there was one last thing. There were these little kind of tiny balls that they did from those. So I really like it. I have kind of plans on what to do with this book, but so far I feel like when I've talked about plans I'm having, the plans end up taking a really long time. So I feel like maybe I'm not gonna say what I'm planning to do with this in case in case it amounts to nothing. I will probably talk about them at a later date, but for starters, I will kind of just say that I have ideas, and if I get those ideas done, I'll share them with you. The one thing that I do like about the book and the idea behind the book is that since you can use all kind of basically things that you would consider trash, so used coffee ground bags and yeah, crisps bags, I really kind of like that you can use them on something, do something with it, and that way maybe kind of just making a little bit less garbage to the world, and maybe using those materials on something that is reusable. And yeah, I just like the idea. I've been thinking about those things more lately anyways, but this just kind of fit into that kind of thought quite well. So yeah, I'm really kind of excited about it. We'll see what I get up to. Then I also ordered a rotary cutter and a self-healing mat for that, with the thought in mind that I can use it on fabric, for example, with more flowy fabrics, so like it's a viscose rayon fabric on the kimono jacket, and also on this. It's so flowy that I think the rotary cutter is better for cutting the pattern pieces out. And also, I didn't know it at the time, but it is a good thing to have with the coffee bag crafting type of thing. So, but that's still on its way to me. It hasn't arrived yet, and it's not much to show. I think most crafty people might know what they are, but when they get here, sure, I can show them to you if you absolutely want to. Yeah, those were the acquisitions. I've been really good. I haven't bought any yarn, even though there are those lot of sales emails are making their way to my inbox, but I've been really good. I haven't bought any new yarn since I bought the Lanitium Ex Machina yarns for the gifts. I've been very good. I've been buying other things. I've been using money maybe to a bit of excess, but on the yarn buying front, I've been very good. Two podcasts that I want to mention that I've started watching. One is a Finnish speaking podcast called Erään kolttanaisen käsityöpäiväkirja. And the main reason I really like it is that it has to do with the Sami culture of crafting, which is really kind of miles away from what we have on mainstream crafting type of scene in Finland, I feel. She talks about, for example, I found it really fascinating on, she talked about attending a course on dyeing fish skins and using them on crafting, and how you kind of what you do to the fish skin to be usable and not stinky. And just the episode that I'm watching now, I think it's not the newest one, it's the one before that. She's showing how they use bits of fish spine as kind of a crafty material, and it's really kind of fascinating. And I actually found myself thinking at one point that it's such a shame that Finnish people don't have kind of the same kind of culture, which is, it's stupidly thought, because of course we do have our own kind of crafting culture, and of course we have our own kind of national national garments, but it's just not that present in modern Finnish culture. It's a different kind of presence that their traditional crafting have in their community. It's really, I feel like it's very visible in their culture still, wearing the Sami, the more traditional Sami clothing and doing the crafting. And I'm sure it's going through one kind of renaissance because of the history that they have in regards to Finnish and other Nordic cultures. Because it just, even one generation ago, the treating of the Sami culture was very different, and it was kind of trying to be stamped out. And I'm really, really happy that that didn't happen, and that they're kind of taking their culture back in the new generation, and the revival of the languages and other things. And it's so fascinating to me to see a different type of crafting and how present it is in their culture, and how proud they are of their kind of traditional the traditional clothing that they have. And it's just so fascinating to me. So that's something that I really enjoy about watching, and I'm happy that I found that podcast. And then the other one is more international, and I think it's, even if people don't watch it, they hear it mentioned in other podcasts. And the other podcast is Scandinavs. She's a Norwegian woman who lives in London, I think, or in England, and close to London, if not in London. And she's really kind of known for her stranded and colorwork knits, and she's an amazing designer. And yeah, she also seems like a very lovely person. So I actually started by watching her newest Vlogmas videos, but the podcast episodes are of course just lovely. So those are two of the newest podcasts that I've been into, and at the moment I really don't even keep up with my with the other podcasts that I've been watching. So it just goes in kind of cycles on which podcasts I watch, and then I binge watch a few episodes in one go from a specific podcaster. But anyway, those were two lovely new acquaintances on the podcast front. And yeah, the last kind of thing that I wanted to prattle on about is things that I want to do or change during this new year. I really don't have much to say about last year. It's been a very average year for me, nothing very exciting. Of course, there were very lovely happenings, and then there were kind of bummed out feelings throughout the year, so very kind of average year on a personal level. So I have nothing very exciting to talk about during the last year, about the last year. The one thing that I did want to kind of try and do is on the Ravelry front, because I really want to get better at kind of logging my projects in there. I have done it to some extent last year, but I want to get better at it. I want to add big pictures there, and yeah. Then also I want to start, since I started a Ravelry group quite early on with with this podcast. I really want to kind of start putting some content in there. And with the things I have which I hope to get done during this year, that Ravelry group might really be handy. So I want to start using it a little bit. Then also something that I did once I got home from Oulu after the New Year's is that I looked through my queue in Ravelry, and I kind of took an evening and I just kind of looked through it and cleaned up some things that I thought I might not be doing in the next year, and then added some other things that I really would like to get done. There's the first project that I really do think I'm gonna start next is the Teolai cardigan. And then I just wanted to show a few other patterns that I added there, which I really kind of would like to get on with. So just a little minute. So the first thing I found to add there for this year is the Habitat cardigan by Jess Coppon. It's this really kind of lovely, oversized, looks really comfy, and it uses kind of a really thick or heavyweight yarn, so it might not be as time consuming as, for example, something like this done in a fingering weight. Then the other thing I found was this lovely Archer cardigan by Elizabeth Doherty. This looks really kind of beautiful, and I really like how it looks like it's two different pieces of clothing, but it's just the one cardigan. There's another picture from that. It just looks really kind of pretty. That's quite low on my queue because I feel like I have no idea what yarns I would use. Maybe I have the yarn, but I don't know. Then the other thing that I really I like this. It's been a while since this has been published. It's not an old pattern, but it has been out for a while. And it's the Comfort Fade Cardi by Andrea Maury. I really kind of like how this cardigan looks. I like the fade element in it. They also added the what's it? The big fade, Find Your Fade cardigan, the shawl in my queue. I'm not sure I'll be doing it as a fade, but I think the pattern is something that I'm interested in, and maybe using up maybe scraps, or maybe doing just a 2-color version of it. might be nice. I don't know, but yeah, we'll have to see. But this type of fade I find really beautiful, and it looks like a very comfortable cardigan. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is a cardigan as well, and it's the Humulus cardigan by Isabel Kramer. And I really kind of this came out towards the end of the year, so it's not a very old pattern, but I really like how this looks, and I think that I might try to do this for myself at one point. So yeah, those are the few things that I wanted to show you. And then I also mentioned at one point, I think it may have been a Vlogmas video, where I was kind of pondering about maybe mixing the podcast layout, or try something different with it this year. And yeah, I talked about maybe doing something more along the line of maybe doing one video about a certain project from start to finish, and maybe not do these kinds of more average type of podcast videos. And I think I'm gonna try it. The way I will do it is, until I have I don't know, documented one project from start to finish, until then I will try and kind of I will put up these types of videos which I've been doing. And depending on how fast those projects go, probably some will be shorter with smaller projects. Maybe have one or two projects in one video if they're small sock projects or something like that, and then maybe do some stash videos or acquisition videos, and then maybe do sewing content videos as kind of separate things. So basically, if you're not interested in sewing, you don't have to watch those. You can just watch the knitting content videos, or if you're more interested in maybe just the crafting things and maybe not so much about the acquisitions and stash enhancement things, you can skip those ones. So that really kind of appeals to me, that kind of an idea. But until I have those videos to show you, until then I will continue with this type of a video, and I will be trying to do the whips that I have going right now, which there are many. So until I have something new, some new type of video ready for you, until then I will continue doing these. And of course, like, I hope this goes without saying, but if you have feedback, if this sounds interesting, or if this sounds like a horrible idea, let me know. I don't have to move my podcast to that kind of setting, and if it sounds interesting, please let me know that, yeah, that sounds interesting. I appreciate feedback. The only thing that if it sounds like a horrible idea, well, once again, be kind. And just, yeah, I hope it, once again, it goes without saying, I hope you're not that type of people, but that just speaks to what I'm afraid of, that the feedback isn't like, that's a horrible idea and you're stupid, and if you do that, I'm gonna stop watching this, and I will unsubscribe so fast, and you're never gonna see me again, and blah, 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 blah. So right now, since it hasn't happened yet, if you if it sounds like a horrible idea to you, just say that, maybe think again. I might not like that. Doesn't sound like a good idea. Those are perfectly acceptable sentences just to throw my way. But yeah, I'm not sure how long it will take because, of course, I need to have some kind of a video to show you. I will have to do a project from start to finish to document that, and yeah. Yeah. And actually, that was about it for what I have for you this time. This is a much longer episode than I've had in the past few times that I've uploaded, mostly because my husband is away, my kid is asleep, so I have time to kind of take my time and explain things to you. Do some impromptu change of clothes for you and do some things like that. But yeah, that's it for this time. Thank you for spending your time with me. If you liked the episode, if you haven't already, you might subscribe to my channel. You might press the like button on this video. But whatever you do or don't do, for now, thanks for watching, thanks for your time, and until I see you next time, I hope you have a good time crafting. Bye bye.